What's going on, everyone? Welcome into episode number 6 of the Vultures Row podcast. I'm your host, Joey Bonsanti, sitting across the monitor from me, my two wonderful co-hosts, Tony Vegas, Pat Winters. Pat, I'll start with you this week. How we doing?
Doing good. Draft is approaching, and it's kind of boring, for draft season because I just feel like it's been really honed in on a couple players, Membu Warren, and maybe with some outside perspective. So hopefully we get a little bit more exciting news leading up to draft time. But other than that, ready for it to happen.
Sweet. I just want to say something before we really start and I introduce Tony. I've been friends with Tony since high school, and it pains me every time to call this guy Tony Vegas. Anyways, Tony, how you doing? Pains me.
I'm doing good, Joey. Obviously, we're still in like this slow news cycle type situation, man. I mean, we got Breece Hall posting pictures of baboons smoking cigarettes, and that's what we're, all fired up about. So we're gonna talk about Breece Hall today. That's gonna be the focus, right? So let's dig into it.
Yeah, we got Breece Hall pretty much and maybe some other draft talk, but I guess we'll start with Pat. What do we make about these, I don't even like to call them rumors because it feels all like fake and maybe it's like Glenn trying to send a message. What do you feel and what do you think of all these rumors running around with Breece Hall right now?
I think ultimately it's a test on Breece, I think, from Aaron Glenn's comments. But at the same time, there's been a lot of smoke around this from the beginning of the offseason. I know Benjamin Solak predicted it, that they would trade Breece. I think Rich Cimini even said that there's a possibility now if Genti's on the board at 7, which really sparked a lot of this. But I think Aaron Glenn's comments last week were really more so about having a committee, was really more so to test Breece's patience, I would say, and he failed that in my opinion. But ultimately, I think he will be on the team, but I'm not saying that it would be the best roster management move. I'm just going to give everybody the other side of the coin of why I think I could wrap my head around it. So the biggest question with Breece, and I'll ask you guys, let's just start with this. Do you think they're going to re-sign Breece at any point? I'm sorry, are they going to give Breece a contract extension?
No, I think the most they do is tag him.
Okay. What about you, Joey?
I agree. It's the most it's going to be his franchise. He'll be on the roster in 2 more years, probably. That's my guess.
Okay. So I also say no. I'd put the chances of them signing him to an extension at under 20% as it currently stands today. His trade value, while you're not going to get the value for him as the playmaker he is, it's at its highest right now, right? So every pro Breece fan is going to blame him in his situation on a ton of factors and not blame it on Breece himself. But the stats are the stats, and they show that he's not the same runner that he was his rookie year when he was, everything. He was my favorite player at the time. Yes, he's a very good receiving back, right? However, as a runner, and this is per a great article that was just written by Tony's good friend, Zach Rosenblatt, over the last 2 years, he ranks 39th out of 44th of 44 running backs in EPA per rush. He's second worst percentage of rushes for 0 or negative yards. He's 5th worst in offensive rushing success. You want to blame that on stacked boxes? He faced them 15.5% of the time, which is 37th out of 44. He has the most fumbles, which some of them from last year cost us wins. That's very fair to say. He's second worst in first down rate. He's 31st in third down conversion rate. And his yard per carry, while it was astronomically high, in an unreasonable bar to set his rookie year, it's gone down each year, right? It isn't all on Breece. A lot has to happen for running backs to succeed, but I'm sick of the narrative that it's also just not entirely his fault either. And I'm sick of the shit in the media as well, like his shit. Aaron Glenn clearly tested him with his comments last week. Now the rumors are flying around, and he responds with his typical Twitter bullshit, which he's historically done, right? And that's the exact type of crap, coupled with his excuses in the media, majority of the time when he spoke last year, that's just not going to fly anymore. So Aaron Glenn, coming from Detroit, who traded their RB1 in DeAndre Swift in a contract year and adopted a running back by committee approach, even though it was a rich one, they did it, right? Everyone at the time thought they were nuts. They thought they were even crazier when they made their replacements and drafted Gibbs 12th overall. How'd that one work out, right? Worked out pretty good, I'd say. And speaking of running back by committee, I'm not saying they're superstars, but Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis showed flashes last year. I'll focus on Braylon Allen first. In the games that he received 7 or more touches, he did pretty well. The Tennessee game where he broke out, right? He averaged 4.7 yards per carry. He had 2 touchdowns. He even had some receiving. He had a receiving touchdown in that game. New England the next week, 5 yards a carry. Denver, shit game, but 4.3 yards per carry. And then out of nowhere, poof, he just disappeared. And they just ignored him basically until the final game where he averaged 4 yards a carry. So there's promise, in my opinion, with Braylon Allen. I like him a lot. Isaiah Davis, in a much less sample size, showed even more promise. He averaged 5.8 yards a carry. So I know I'm rambling, and to wrap this up, I'm not saying it's an A1 move right now, given all the needs that they have at more dire positions. We all know what they are: tight end, right tackle, D-line. Like, these are much more critical positions when you have a good running back in Breece Hall. But for a player they probably won't re-sign, who is at his highest value currently, who probably doesn't fit the culture Aaron Glenn is trying to build, I'm just saying that I could wrap my head around it. And I'm not necessarily going to be mad at them resetting the running back contract clock for, let's just say hypothetically, a superstar in Ashton Genty, if they hypothetically took him at 7, which I don't think is likely. I think if they did trade Breece, I would think they would still go Warner Membu, and I think they would hopefully have a pick this year. Maybe you go get Caleb Johnson. Maybe you go get Quinshawn Jukins, Cam Scatabo, Dylan Sampson, who I love, Tennessee guy. DJ Giddens would be an insane compliment to Braylon and Isaiah. This is a very, very deep running back class that I still think they can dip into in round 3 or 4 and get a quality player that could help on the committee. Even if they kept Breece, they could still do that and have somebody for when Breece eventually goes. So again, the guys, Paul in Badlands, not stealing from him. He predicted earlier this offseason that Aaron Glenn's going to make a surprise move, set the tone, that he's not fucking around, right? This feels like that type of move. And like I said before, Benjamin Solak predicted it, that the Jets are going to trade Bruce. So this isn't a crazy move, in my opinion, if they were to do it. So sorry for rambling, but...
All right, well, that was the first
Floor is yours,
podcast.
guys. The floor is yours, guys.
Tony, go ahead, man.
Okay, I mean, a lot of big stats there, right? And I think it's fair to look at that stuff. I mean, he definitely... I look at it as like the ACL thing. I think that really that really impacted him, right? It's that if he didn't do that, I don't think we'd be having this conversation right now. Here's my take on the entire situation, and I agree with you in terms of like culturally, and I really like that you said Glenn's testing him, which I don't know if he's doing that, but it really would make sense by releasing comments like that and see how he reacts. So you want to make the tone setting move. I thought that was Aaron Rodgers. I could see what you're saying. Like, I see the vision. I don't know how to put this into words here. My overall take: this team lacks playmakers. Period. Right. Our wide receiver 2 right now is Josh Reynolds. Our wide receiver 3 is Tyler Johnson. We don't have a tight end. We have 2. I mean, you want to talk about Davis and Allen. It's like, okay, they looked pretty solid in the small sample size. Dude, you have a 23-year-old running back who very well could have just had a down year last year in an offense that was, you had Nathaniel Hackett calling the plays, and then, Todd Downing. I mean, dude, they didn't let him get into any sort of rhythm, down the stretch there. It's like they were using the short passing game instead of trying to run the ball. It's so hard to judge somebody in that offense, in my opinion, in that environment in general. It just seemed like a terrible situation. And I know you're going to hate that I say, the coaching sucked, but the coaching did suck. And that, I don't know what the hell that was, but
that's Breece getting out of town.
That's
Hear my shit.
The coaching did really suck. And I just can't wrap my head around. I can't wrap my head around getting rid of a good football player at a position where he can help in the passing game. We know he can run the ball, man. Like, we all watched him enough to where we know he's a good football player. And all these stats you listed were strictly rushing. Dude, they did not give this guy a chance to get going in the passing game. And every time they did, they would abandon it immediately. To the point where it's like,
He's second in receiving yards the past 2 years, though. So I hate that narrative. Like I understand the design passes, but he
but we
got that.
watched it, man. Like you're telling me he was used properly last year? I
No, no,
completely
no, no.
disagree.
I don't think he was used properly. Obviously, coaching was horrible last year. But you bring up the ACL. Okay, he looked better his first year off the ACL than he did last year. That's concerning to me. I don't know why. You talk about coaching. Okay, they also suck not going with the hot hand in like Braylon Allen at certain times. So, and I don't like how Breece responded to that stuff personally. And
How
how
did
is
he
that going to?
respond to that?
How is he his Twitter? It's just his Twitter, his media comments. Like again, I'm not gonna, you know, steal content necessarily, but the Badlands guys brought it up too, right? Every time Garrett Wilson is in a conference, in a press conference after the game, he's literally like, "This shit's unacceptable," right? XYZ. He doesn't. He was a total man about it. Breece is always like, well, like he had always had ridiculous comments in my opinion. Also with cryptic Twitter shit all the time. So that's the
Listen,
shit that I just can't stand. But I'm not saying he's a bad player. I do like Breece, and I think if they had less needs, this would be more of an obvious move. But again, they're lacking playmakers. You're 100% right, and I do think that let's see what he does with a hopefully good offensive coordinator. But I just also think that I could wrap my head around it. Is my point.
So it sounds like you're a little more passionate about this than just wrapping your head around it. Do you really think that it's worth trading Breece Hall? What do you think you're going to get for him? A conditional fourth that can turn into a third, realistically?
I don't think it's
maybe
about
just
what
a
you
third?
can get for him. I think it's not about this year, really, in the grand scheme of things. I think that we all know that, and Aaron Glenn knows that, and the team with the moves they've made have showed that. So if
They
it's
don't want to
about the
win three
future,
games, dude.
if it's about I don't think they're going to win 3 games, even if they did trade Breece and replace them. I think that it's more about right now. And Aaron Glenn actually just came out and said it. I think he's not talking about Super Bowl. He's not talking about playoffs. He's talking about changing the culture of this team, right? And that's a culture changing type of move, in my opinion. And I think that if they're really going to adopt this committee approach and the team first approach, they got to get rid of these type of guys. And Breece, from what he's said in the media, from what he said in the media and his cryptic Twitter shit and all that stuff, it's not going to fly in the future. I think from what Aaron Glenn has already shown.
okay.
Joe,
Let me
I'll let
interject.
you talk. I want to put one more point. This is the most fire we've gotten, man. I love this. He's not a part of your future regardless. He's going to be here for maximum 2 years. Run him into the fucking ground. Get the most you can get out of him. And then you let him go. Get a conditional pick if somebody wants to pay him. That's my take.
Or you get rid of him now. You for the betterment of the culture of the team. You draft a running back.
I don't think he's this toxic guy, man. I really don't.
I don't think he's also a saint that you're making him out to be either. So
listen,
when Aaron Rodgers stuff came out, he was retweeting shit all the time, saying Rodgers has to stay when everybody knew he was gone. Did Garrett Wilson say anything? No, he kept his fucking mouth shut.
Quinnen Williams did. We all love Quinnen.
And what happened to Quinnen? He got nipped in the butt right away by Aaron Glenn. So,
all right.
I'll put it like this: I get both of your points, and I don't really know whose side I'm taking. There doesn't have to necessarily be a side because I see both sides to it. Every team has players, and let me tell you right now, it's not going to stop. It's just going to continue. Every single player, almost every single player on every team that is below the age of 25 is chronically online. Chronically. It's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. So I understand the frustration with that. That's something that you're going to have to live with, Pat. I don't know if it's because
Wilson isn't.
Okay, fine.
I'm a little bit older. I'm 32. I'm not that old.
And Sauce constantly deactivating his account, coming back on and tweeting stuff. And they could do whatever they want. It's their Twitter. It's their live, whatever. All I'm saying is I agree with Tony here. Run Breece into the ground for the next 2 years. Have one more year on his contract. You're paying him 4 years, $9 million. Hypothetically, not that anyone on this podcast wants to get Genty at the 7th pick. If you did draft a running back at 7, because some people, look at him. He said he'd be fine with it. You're paying him 4 years, $28 million, $7 million AV for a running back?
I wouldn't look at the contract. I think he's worth that. If Ashton Genty hit the open market, let's just say the draft didn't exist And
Yeah,
Ashton Jeanty
he'd be like 15 million a year.
You're not
15 a year.
You're not seeing my point here. I don't want to pay top premium money for a rookie running back when I could get a running back in the third round after Aaron Glenn just said, let's go running back by committee.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not
yeah.
saying it's Breece for Jeanty. I just think that
I'm not saying
I could wrap. I'm just saying that. And again, I don't want to. I'm going to be like the biggest Breece Hall villain on Twitter now for this, but I'm not saying like we need to get rid of Breece Hall tomorrow. I'm just saying that if they did it, it wouldn't shock me, and I could understand why. And this would be, in my opinion, the year to do it for the culture standpoint and the fact that it's a really deep running back class. So whether they took Jeanty, whether they took Sean, whether they took Sampson, any of these guys, I think that it's a very deep class where guys that are going to go in the fourth round would go in the second round in a less stacked class. So the value's there to make a move. I would dip into the running back position regardless this year. So
yeah, we'll see. But I just don't see what the point of getting rid of. I mean, I see to get a third round draft pick instead of the guy. You're acting like this guy's coming out in the media every single week and blowing a gasket about the team's losses. The kid was probably used to winning at a high school and college level every year, and then gets put into the worst situation in all of the NFL.
Look at the best teams. Okay, the best teams in the league, right? Like Philly, Detroit, right? Do you see any of these players? I know, and I wouldn't expect us all to because we're not on like Lions Twitter and stuff like that.
I would imagine Gardner Johnson talks shit in the media. Like
I don't hear any of these guys on Twitter. None of that shit. It doesn't fly at
AJ Brown
organizations.
AJ Brown is like the definition of cryptic online bullshit.
It takes a 4-game losing streak. It takes a 4-game losing streak. That's it.
It was a 1 week thing. It got nipped in the butt, and then they worked it out.
He's also AJ Brown.
He's also a receiver. Not. He's a receiver. I'm not giving excuses out there. I'm just, like I said, I'm not saying that it's you got to do it. This is like the tones, the move. I'm just saying that I could understand if they did, and if they did, there is a path. It's not just Breece or the world's going to crash if we trade Breece.
I don't disagree with. Okay, I'm so totally off board with Ashton Jeanty at 7. I think that would be a foolish pick. That's a pick you make if you already have a good roster, or you're the Raiders who like to take the flashiest player in every draft for some reason. He's probably going to go at 6 anyway. Like we're probably not even gonna have a chance to draft him, in my opinion. But in terms of trading Breece, if you're gonna like take a running back and you feel really confident in resetting the running back clock like that, I don't hate the thought process. And yeah, he is a little bit dicey in the media. So if they do it, I would originally be I would be pretty pissed off. I don't see the value being there. If you get offered a second round pick for him and get your pick back that you originally invested in, it's a no brainer. Yeah. But you're not getting that. And I just think the cupboard's a little bit too barren to be, trading players like that, especially before you even get to see him like in the offense or anything. It would be puzzling to me at first. That's kind of how I'll leave it.
I think, look, at the end of the day, hopefully all this chatter is motivating for Breece, because again, there's nothing I would want more, and I know it's going to sound crazy after everything that I just said, but if Breece comes in this year and absolutely kills it, great. It's better for all of us, right? It's better for Breece, it's better for the fans, it's better for the team. So, I hope that happens. I'm just saying that I could understand if there's really fire behind this smoke. I've seen crazier things happen.
If they go ahead and take a right tackle, dude, they've been preaching this, like, at least I think they've been preaching this, like, run first, run heavy offense. That's really the direction I think they're going to go. I just wouldn't trade your best rushing attack guy. Your best running back. I don't know. It's just so shocking that we're talking about this seriously right now, and it's blowing my brain. Don't trade him.
You tune up your offensive line, and then all of a sudden you have Justin Fields, Breece Hall, Isaiah Davis, and Braylon Allen. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that's arguably one of the best rushing attacks, and then potentially one of like a top 10 offensive line unit. So I just don't see why you'd move them for a third round pick. Maybe like you said, Pat, if you get a fourth round pick, you parlay the other fourth and move up into the third and grab a running back. Sure, I don't know.
Replace them in the aggregate.
I guess. I mean, again, I think what's going to happen is he'll be on the roster for 2 more years. That's what I think is going to happen. And we'll end up letting him walk. He'll probably have like one good year of the next two, and we'll draft another one. They're replaceable. I mean, go down the list: Derrick Henry, 2nd round; Joe Mixon, 2nd round; Kamara, 3rd round; Chubb, 2nd round; David Montgomery, 3rd round; Pollard, 4th. Like these guys, you get them whenever you want in the draft. This is not something where you're picking in the 1st round to get a running back.
All the more reason why I'm saying it's not crazy. Again, you talked about that class with Kamara in it. Super deep running back class, right? So if you're going to do it, this might be the year to do it with how deep of a class this is. You don't need to take Gentry at 7 if he's there. You don't need to take Amari and Hampton in the 1st round at 7, who's also a stud. You don't need to take Trevion Henderson at 42 if he happened to fall there. Like, there's guys that are really good in this draft later on that they can still address: right tackle, tight end, pass catcher. And then instead of taking a BS quarterback pick, you take a running back.
Yeah.
So
no need to take a quarterback. I agree with you there.
Yeah. Well, I don't want us to run around in circles about this because we'd probably fight about this and talk about it for the next 2 hours. But, we're all a little bit red. Let's calm down a little bit. I'm going to throw to Tony now. Tony has some stuff. You want to say something, Pat? I'll let you go.
I want to get your thoughts more on Breece, though. Like,
What else do you want to know
What
about
do you need
Breece?
to know?
What do you
need to know?
What?
You had a really good thought before the pod, and I'm forgetting what it was. But
Me or Tony?
You did.
Okay.
That's a first.
Remember what it was.
Well, if it pops back into your
Whatever.
head, let me know.
I'll let you know.
This is a free flowing podcast.
This is a very free,
man.
We
There's
came on
nothing to
today's.
talk about.
We came, aside from the, Warner Membu or, fake Breece Hall rumors, which, I mean, he did post the monkey smoking a cigarette. So he definitely hears what everyone's talking about. Anyways, Tony, I guess you wanted to say something about Tyler Warren, so I'll give you the floor.
Yes. I've been tweeting about it. Everybody will get mad at me if I don't share at least something on this. I've heard. It's funny because I'm reading my DMs as we're going here. Someone just DM'd me. I'm hearing Membu from someone close to the team, and that's. I don't know if that's even remotely true. I have no. Tony Mellons, shout out Tony Mellons. Tyler Warren, Jets, Bears. That's my prediction. It's going to be one of those two teams. I was told people around Tyler Warren have been chatting that 7 is potentially his floor. And yeah, so is this smoke? Don't know. I've been got on the draft before. I got pretty bad last year. So a lot of this shit, dude, is agents like throwing shit at a wall and seeing what happens. But that's the word on the street right now. I'm still in Camp Membu, and this is something I want to touch on as well as if we're going to talk about random shit. I've gotten so many of these replies, man. Why does Jets Twitter think the only way to build an O-line is with top 10 picks? Who raised these fools, right? I am a part of Jets Twitter that thinks you need to invest first-round picks in the offensive line. They don't grow on trees. It's impossible to come across a perfect offensive lineman in free agency. You'll never sign one. There's going to be something wrong with them. They're old, injury prone, something or other. And that's why I say just invest in the offensive line this year. None of this Gentry shit. None of this. There's just so much shit flying around because we're all talking about the same thing. It's either Warren or Membu. And now we're talking about Gentry. We're talking about trading Breece Hall. Man, the draft cannot come soon enough, and I just can't wait to see what they end up doing. They're going to keep Breece Hall, and they're going to take one of those two players. That's probably what's going to happen.
I think the more we get closer, unless he's not there, it just seems like logic is leading to Membu for exactly your point, right? Like, they don't grow on trees. It's very rare that, and again, just on the Jets history, we don't draft steals in the later rounds, right? That's number one. Number two, especially linemen, right? Number two is, again, to your point, rarity that a really, like, the exception to the rule is, like, if a player, like Joe Thuney, right? Like, he was on New England, I think, and they just couldn't pay him. And that was an exception. But other than that, to your point,
guard,
they just
guard, yeah,
right. Yeah. To your point, tackles really don't. So I think at the end of the day, the more we get closer to the draft, while I would love Warren, I do think that taking Membu is the move, and then addressing again another deep position in the draft, tight end, in round 2,
Dude,
or
our,
later.
our needs are deep in this draft. Defensive tackle, like tight end. There's a few tight ends that you could take in the 3rd round. I'd be like, all right, you know what?
Running
I
back.
like that. Running back. Well, it depends what they do. Tackles ain't deep, dude. At best, you're getting the Oregon tackle in the 2nd round, and I don't even know if he's going to be there. In every mock draft I've ran, he's not there. So you're looking at freaking Ozzy Trapillo, and it's like, no, dude. I want a top 5 offensive line. I want to run the piss out of the ball. That's what I want, man. Just make it watchable football. Start to build the program out. I don't need 12 wins this year. I just want competent football with an offensive game plan where you're not bullshitting around with a 41-year-old quarterback. That's all I'm looking to see. Make it entertaining to go to the games again. That's it, because I'm tired of, not going to the games after week 8 because there's just no point. That's what it is.
This is just
nothing
taking
going on, so we're all just.
This is just taking such a bad turn.
It's like a State of the Union from Tony.
I think something's been unleashed tonight. That we're all like red in the face. We're all pissed off. Like
We're running out of shit to talk about.
It's
We're
time
just
for the
getting
league
sick of
to
each
just-
other.
It's time. It's 6 episodes in, and we hate each other already. So that's good.
Oh God, man.
Did you think of that point yet? Because I'm about to wrap it up here, Pat. But if you can't think of
Then
it,
I'm sorry.
that sucks. It's okay. I mean, I should have remembered my own good point. Meanwhile, I just spewed like 10
Sorry.
minutes of stuff that didn't
First
matter.
time this week, we're recording a podcast. We're doing a second one. Don't forget.
Yeah. Do you want to expand on that before I close out?
But yeah, dude, we're doing the Discord show for the Badlands guys. They're the best in the business. Very happy to hop on their feed for an episode. And frankly, we don't know what the hell we're going to talk about yet, but we'll figure something out, and it's going to be a blast. So you probably, if you're listening to this, you probably subscribe to them. If not, you should definitely check them out. They're awesome. Great draft analysis. I'd say they're the second best wink wink Jets podcast on online behind Vultures Row, but I'm joking. So yeah, we're gonna be on there, and it's gonna be fun.
No, I'm excited. I've been a Badlands and TOJ subscriber since God knows how long. So to be on their feed was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
it'll be good.
Excited for that.
Like Tony said, we don't know the total specifics of the episode, but we're looking forward to getting on their feed, and it really is. It is really cool, and this podcast has progressed very quickly within probably the first 2 months at this point. Even though it feels like we've been building and doing stuff with this for almost like 6 months, even though it's been 3. So, and it's not possible without anyone, not listening. I mean, everyone has taken us well on Jets Twitter, and we do appreciate it. And go follow us on Twitter. I feel like the Twitter is really starting to pick up some steam again. At NYJ_Vultures Row on Twitter, which is huge. On YouTube, on Spotify, and I finally figured out Apple Podcasts, which is huge. I had a few Apple people that were getting mad at me, so I do appreciate that. All right, well, appreciate it, and we will see you guys on the Badlands feed Friday. Peace.